Okay, so don't mind the background right now. My glasses are falling off. Okay, so I wanted to get on here, number one, because I really want to get used to doing some talking videos. I honestly don't like the way I sound on camera, but I wanted to get used to it anyways. And also, I just wanted to get on here. I really want to start recording more for YouTube. I have a few playing videos, and I definitely want to do more of that. But I want to record more, and I want to do some more talking stuff as well. So I'm kind of trying to think about how my channel is going to go and how I can revamp it. But, you know, anyways, so I am in the music room a little bit. Here's my piano that's been in the family for ever and ever and ever. There's also lots of yarn in the background because I do like to crochet. And then right behind me, there's a list of pieces that I'm working on right now. And then there's some of my teaching books right there, my method books, because I'm also a piano teacher. And then right there, these are my old trumpet books. So if anybody happens to come across this video and you play trumpet, I do have an Arbenz book right there that I've had since like 7th grade. But anyways, what I kind of wanted to do was get on here and talk a little bit about myself and about where I am in life right now in terms of my musical journey. So, my name is Asia Passmore. Asia, just like the continent, ASIA. I am currently a Doctor of Musical Arts student studying piano performance at the University of Georgia. I am from the South, from the Southern United States. I'm from the Bible Belt, born and raised. I did all my degrees elsewhere though. I did my undergrad in North Carolina and my master's degree in New Mexico at the University of New Mexico. So I've been all over the place. And then I finally decided to go to school in Georgia, where I'm from, coincidentally for my last degree I'm ever going to get. Praise God. So I really wanted to do this because I want to see more Black people, especially more Black women who are in not just music programs, but also in graduate music programs. There's lots of Black women out there on YouTube that I love to subscribe to and come across who are in doctoral degrees or PhD programs in, science or other STEM programs or clinical psychology or other psychology, forensic psychology. And I've subscribed to some of those women and I really love what they're doing. And I love to see Black women thriving in PhD programs because we can also be Black and be in PhD programs or doctoral programs or Doctor of Musical Arts programs. But I want to see more Black people in higher ed degrees. I want to see more Black people who are not just higher ed degrees, but higher ed degrees in music. I want to see more Black people study music in school and also get graduate degrees in music, I want to see more of that on YouTube, so I don't see that too often, which is why I'm on here right now. So I wish that when I was an undergrad, I would have come across somebody who is in where I am right now, who looks like me, So if you're younger and you're Black, if you're not little Black girl, if you're a younger Black woman who is studying piano like I am, but you're an undergrad and you're wondering, can I be a Doctor of Musical Arts student? Yes, you can. Because if I did it, then you can too. Now, let me just preface by saying that I would not be anywhere if not for the grace of God, because I just wouldn't be anywhere without the grace of God and without the power of God, because my own talents and my own skills were certainly not enough to get me as far as I did, or to get me as far as I have gone. So, and let me also preface by saying that I literally recorded my DMA auditions, and I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I recorded my DMA auditions on this piano right here, which really is not the best piano, at all. And so, but they still let me into their program anyway. So, again, only for the grace of God. I just want to preface by saying that. So, what I really wanted to do is talk about how I got into my DMA program, or not necessarily how I got into my DMA program, but just my DMA journey in general, from first deciding to apply and now being in my second semester. And which, by the way, I have to do my first DMA recital, which I am not ready for. But anyways, so yeah, so I guess let's get into it. Okay, so I first decided to apply for my DMA in the winter of 2020. So this was January 2020. This was like 2 months before COVID hit. So January of 2020, I was almost 1 year out from graduating from my master's degree. So I graduated from my master's degree in spring of 2019 from the University of New Mexico in piano performance. And after I graduated, I had literally, well, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to try to be an adjunct professor because when you have a master's degree, you're qualified to apply for adjunct jobs. Obviously, the job market is really, really slow. Not slow, but it's really, really small. So, and I didn't really have that much on my CV or resume to stand out, but I was applying anyways. So, and there's more to that journey too. But I wanted to stay in New Mexico because I loved living in the Southwest. I've always wanted to end up in the Southwest. But as God would have it, there were no job opportunities really out there for me that would sustain me, because when you're in the field of music and you're just starting out, you can't just have one job. Like, you really have to have a really accomplished career to get a university job like that. And that was not me. Okay. So my best bet, and anybody's best bet probably is, if you're in the music field just starting out, is probably to be a teacher. And people might look down on being a teacher or whatever, like, I want to teach kids or whatever. But teaching kids is actually really awesome. I was honestly afraid to teach kids. My comfort zone was really with older, like pre-college kids or college students. But I love teaching kids, and I found that I have a knack for teaching beginners. And I love teaching beginners because you get to be their first teacher. Like, they get to look back on their life and remember you as their first teacher. I remember my first teacher. Now, I was not a piano student when I was a kid. I didn't have my first piano lesson until I was almost 16 years old. So that's another story too, which I'll tell later on in another video. But yeah, I think that being a teacher is absolutely awesome. Kids will have a lot of teachers in their life, but they will always remember their first teacher. So, don't look down on teaching. Teaching is awesome. And honestly, there's a lot of money to be made in teaching, especially if you market yourself and you establish yourself as a really good teacher and a pedagogue. You're going to make bank. But anyways, I was fresh out of my master's degree and I had no idea really what I was doing. I wanted to stay out there, but it was looking like that I wasn't going to stay out there in Albuquerque. So then I noticed that there were a lot of jobs opening in the Southeast where I'm from. And so I was applying for adjunct jobs in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. So somewhere right around there. Because I'm from South Carolina. I was born there, raised in Georgia. I did my undergrad in North Carolina. So I was pretty familiar with that. And honestly, I was actually really looking forward to the possibility of moving back home and being closer to my family because I missed being close to my family. I missed the idea of not having to book a flight home every time I wanted to go home for a holiday or just when I wanted to visit. So, and plus my sister was pregnant at the time and she was going to give birth to her son in October and I didn't want to miss that. So there were just other things, and I think that God really changed my heart to, being open to the possibility of moving back to the Southeast. So I did that. I was still applying for adjunct jobs and all that. And in between that time that I graduated and I moved back home, I did actually go to Germany for a piano festival that my Professor Falco Steinbach at the University of New Mexico, he holds an international piano festival in Lindlar, Germany, almost every summer. Of course, in 2020, it got canceled because of COVID, but they did hold a small festival in 2021 this past summer, and they're holding another one this year, which I'm kind of looking into going to because I really miss all the people that I met and I want to go to Germany again. But let's see what COVID looks like. Okay. But I went to Germany in between the time that I graduated and the time that I moved back home. And it was literally one of the best experiences of my entire life. It was the first time I'd ever been out of the country before. And I knew people who were going there. So I wasn't going there all by myself, but I flew by myself. I flew there and I flew back. And when I got there, I landed in Dusseldorf and I had to catch a train by myself to Cologne. So, and then when I got there, my phone was dead. So yeah, that was an adventure, but God protected me. I made it and I had a bomb time. It was so fun. I got to perform in a few different towns and I got paid for it too. So I saved all that money and I transferred it back into US dollars, and it was a few $100s. So yay. But it was so much fun. So don't be afraid to travel internationally and go to an international festival, because you'll meet a lot of people and you'll make connections too. And let me just say that people, if you're a performer and you think that all these other performers are just awesome and like prestige people, no, they're awesome, but we're still just people, you know? Everybody was afraid to perform. Nobody was proud of their performances. And it was kind of funny because I was just like, oh my gosh, you're so good. But they were like, that was okay. So like, we're all just people. But anyways, so yeah, I went to Germany. I came back to the States, and then I was home in Georgia for a few days, and then I had to go back to Albuquerque to get all my stuff. And then my mom flew to Albuquerque to meet me so we could both drive my car back to Georgia. So that was a whole adventure. But, and then I'm here in Georgia, and I wasn't really hearing back from anybody about jobs or whatever, but, and I did not want to work retail. I worked in Kohl's one summer when I was in Albuquerque, and it paid the bills when I needed the bills to be paid, but like, retail is not my calling, okay? So I didn't want to do that. I did apply to Michael's and I did get an interview, but the person who was supposed to interview me did not show up. So I had to be interviewed by somebody else. And the person who was originally supposed to interview me was supposed to do a phone interview with me, but they never called me. So I was like, okay. But I ended up applying to teach at a music school in the area where I'm from. And I actually applied to teach at that school a few years prior, during one summer when I was home from college, but it wasn't going to work out because I was only going to be home for the summer. So there was no chance for me to build a long-term studio. But they were hiring again when I came home. And I was like, okay, God, what's this? So I applied, you know, because I was like, I need a job, you know, and I want to stay in my field. So teaching is the way to go. And this studio is a Black-owned studio, okay? And now, and I'm still teaching there, by the way. I've been there for about almost 2.5 years. I guess like in around June it'll be like 2.5 years. I started teaching there in October of 2019. I applied in September. I started teaching in October, a few months before COVID hit, okay? And I will say that that was probably one of the best opportunities I've ever had to teach, and it was the best opportunity I had to start off as a teacher, because you know, you can take pedagogy classes and you can do all this stuff, but you will really never learn anything until you actually teach for yourself. And I'm so glad I got to do that outside of school, you know, because I did this all on my own. This was my job. This was my profession, was teaching. So I was building my own studio. I was gleaning from other teachers, you know, what they do to have a successful studio and have successful students. And it was amazing. And you know, it was just amazing. And I got to meet wonderful teachers. I got to interact with different kinds of students. I got to learn how to teach a special needs student, which I think music teachers should learn how to teach, not just music therapists, but everybody. But anyways, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. So I graduated from a master's degree. I went to Germany. I came back, moved back home, started teaching. And then around 2020-ish, early 2020, I had just gotten a bunch of new students because one of the old teachers was moving, or not moving, but she was leaving some of her students to finish her DMA degree, her Doctor of Musical Arts degree, at the University of Georgia. And I was like, okay. So people who go to UGA also teach here, which is cool. And so I got to thinking, you know, I could do that. I could still teach at this school and also probably be a DMA student, be a doctoral student in piano, you know? So then that was when I really started thinking about, you know, UGA or the University of Georgia, because it would allow me to keep my students so I can have some sort of income just in case I didn't get an assistantship or anything like that. Because in the field of music, assistantships are not guaranteed. You know, fellowships are not guaranteed, just so you know. So, but before that, I remember being in my master's degree graduation and seeing all the doctoral students, the PhD students, music or not, well, actually, we did not have a doctoral program in our music program. So like other fields, I remember seeing them and I was like, I want to be that, I want to wear my, have my hooded robe and the bars and the hat. I want to be that. Like, I want to graduate. I want to be Dr. Asia. So, like, I knew I was always going to have a doctoral degree. I had no idea how I was going to get there. But anyways, moving on, in January of 2020, that was when I decided, okay, I think I actually want to use my time to prepare for a doctoral degree, or to apply for a doctoral degree. So I originally wanted to try to start applying in the fall of 2021, but then in 2020 I was like, why wait a whole year? Why not just apply it this fall and fall of 2020? This is before COVID happened. So I was like, okay, why don't I just do this? I'm already learning some pieces, that might be potential audition pieces. And I don't want to wait another year just in case something comes up or something happens. I'm pretty free right now in my life. I'm single, so I don't have to consider somebody else's feelings right now before I apply. I'm teaching right now and I've built my savings back up, so I have the money to apply. So why not just do it this fall? So this was in January of 2020 was when I really decided, okay, I'm going to start preparing for this now. So I made a little schedule for myself, like learn these pieces by this time, have my statement of purpose written by this time, which by the way, did not happen. Okay. Did not happen. Because, in March, that's when COVID hit and the world kind of shut down. The school where I taught, we didn't shut down, but we moved completely to Zoom, which I will say was the most flawless transition ever. My schedule, literally all of 2020, never changed. My schedule never changed. The only thing that changed was the format of teaching. So I will forever be grateful to the organization of the school that I teach at. They are amazing and they're so organized and just so put together. So, but anyways, COVID happens and I'm kind of losing my motivation a little bit. I'm just like, do I really want to? I don't feel like practicing. I don't feel like doing anything. And I'm just remembering the stress that I went through for my master's degree application. And I was like, do I really want to do this? But I was like, you know what? I still want to be Dr. Asia. I have the time to do it. I have the money to do it. I should just do it. So fast forward to September of 2020. I was trying to figure out what kind of other things I could do to stay active as a performer. Because, I was able to do some stuff as a teacher because we do have some teacher performances sometimes. But I was trying to figure out what I could do to stay active as a performer. And there was an online piano competition that I was looking into. But then I was also thinking, why don't I just look to see if some of these applications have opened yet? Because usually applications will open in September. They're usually due by December 1st. But anyways, I was looking to see if the University of Georgia's application had opened, and they had. So this was like probably at midnight one day in the middle of the week. I was on my phone checking to see if anything was open, and it did. So on a whim, I just started my application on accepted on my phone, and then I just went from there. So from there, I wanted to make sure I was doing everything right. I got into contact with one of the professors at UGA, and let me just say, every single interaction I've ever had with UGA was amazing. They were all so nice. They were all so helpful, and they were just willing to help and willing to answer questions, and they gave me the time of day to do it. They're having their own, trying to figure out their own solutions with COVID, because, it hits different when you're a musician, because number one, performing is our profession, and when things are shut down, then we're not making money. Not to mention, you have wind players who have to blow things, and they have to figure out how to keep the school sanitized and clean when you're blowing your spit and your germs in the air and whatever. So I really am thankful that they were really open to, giving me all this stuff and all this advice and helping me out a lot. So I also knew that I wanted to apply to other schools. UGA, my first choice honestly changed a lot. So I applied to the University of Georgia, I applied to the University of Arizona, and I applied to the University of Colorado Boulder. So the application season was completely stressful. So as I said, I made a schedule of when I wanted to finish all my pieces, and it did not work out that way. Okay, it did not work out that way. So usually applications are due December 1st, and I wanted to finish my recording by November, but they extended the deadline to January 15th because of COVID. Praise God, because I would not have been ready by December 1st. And I tried so hard to record my auditions. I was recording since October, and I didn't get my recordings finished until like a few days in January of 2021 before the application was due. But that was just another thing I think that God was trying to teach me. I was trying to find the nicest piano because I wanted good quality recordings. One of my goals is to have good quality recordings. I did not want to end up recording at home because I knew this piano was not that good. But, you know, I think God was trying to teach me the same thing that he taught me when I applied for my master's degree. It is not my skills. It's not going to be, you know, the fancy piano that will get me in, but it will be him alone. He's going to open the doors. He's going to work things out and whatever. So, yeah, I tried to record at the school where I teach because we do have a few baby grands. It wasn't working out. I even got an opportunity to record at my cousin's church on a beautiful stage, on a beautiful piano. And guess what? It didn't work out. So I was like, okay, Lord, why? Just why? Why can't I play good? Why? Like, just why? So then I was like, okay, I'm going to have to record at home. And I even considered postponing applying for another year because my audition recordings were not working out at all. I was like, I'm not ready. I keep changing my pieces because I don't know what's going to be ready. So, but I ended up sucking it up. I ended up keep going because I was like, I want to apply. I want to do something because I already contacted all these professors at all these institutions. So I was like, they're expecting me to turn in something. So I'm going to turn in something. If they think it's trash, oh well, at least I finished, you know. I just wanted to finish. So I guess, where are we in this story? I guess we're in January now. So January, I was like, okay, God, I'm going to record on my piano at home and hopefully it'll work out. I did have some microphones to kind of, you know, stifle the sound or to change the sound a little bit to make it a little bit more appealing to the listeners, but you know, it was whatever. So I ended up auditioning with a Bach Prelude and Fugue, the one in F minor. I believe it's book 2, number 12. I'm not sure, but it's F minor. And then I auditioned with Antonio Soler's Fandango. So Soler was a Spanish composer. He wrote a lot of sonatas, and he was really influenced by Scarlatti. So his style is very much like Scarlatti, except he's Spanish. And I played his Fandango, which is about 10 minutes. I also played the Fandango for my master's recital, and it was amazing. And then I auditioned with a Haydn Sonata. This was HOB 52 in E flat major. And then I also auditioned with Brahms, his Opus 118. And then I also auditioned with 2 Chopin etudes. So I had a plethora of music ready, you know, depending on what the needs were for each institution. So the 2 Chopin etudes, they're both in Opus 10. One is number 3 in E major. The other one was, I can't remember if it's number 8 or number 9, but it's in F minor. And then I also auditioned with 2 of Samuel Coleridge Taylor's 24 Negros melodies because I wanted to do something by a Black composer because I'm Black. Obviously, I love Black composers. So yeah, those were my audition pieces that I auditioned with. And fast forwarding to the audition process, I recorded my videos, I sent them in, and I also kind of learned how to edit videos a little bit, which is actually a lot of fun, which is why I really want to get back into like recording and stuff for YouTube. But I finished my videos, I recorded them, I was editing them, getting them turned in, and I was like, okay, I'm finished with all my applications. Now it's time to wait and see. So I first heard back from the University of Arizona saying, you've passed the pre-screening. And I was like, yay! Oh my gosh. You have no idea. I was running around the house praising God because I was like, there's no way this video is good enough. And I didn't even follow all the directions correctly. But they passed the pre-screening. They passed me in my pre-screening. I was like, okay, so there's one audition that I have. So I'm moving forward. And then I heard back from, I heard back from Colorado Boulder saying, you passed, or you get an interview or whatever, because they didn't do pre-screening, they just did a recorded audition. So I got an interview / audition with the University of Arizona. I got an interview with Colorado Boulder, and then I also obviously got an interview with UGA. So I was like, oh my gosh, I really moved forward in all these degrees, or not all these programs, because I didn't think I was going to get this far. But I was like, thank you, Jesus, for like doing that for me. So that was January. So fast forward to February, it's interview season. So I'm like kind of freaking out. Thank God I'm kind of done with playing, except for the University of Arizona. But the first interview I had was Colorado Boulder, and it was a pretty pleasant interview. They were very nice. And so that one was over. And then the next one I had was UGA. And there was some sight reading that I had to do. Everything was over Zoom. I had to do some sight reading, which wasn't too bad. But I don't know. I actually enjoyed, out of all the interviews, and I love all the schools I applied to. They're all really great programs. But I really enjoyed my interview with UGA the most, because they were just so, I don't know, I feel like they were relatable, and I feel like we were laughing in the interview. So I was like, okay, I really like this atmosphere. These are really cool people. Like, they're all really cool. And they're so welcome and open. So, I don't know. But at the time, actually, UGA was not my first choice. My first choice was the University of Arizona at this time, which was the last interview that I had. And that was the one where I had to do an actual live virtual audition. So what they did was, on the Accepted platform, they had this audition room that I had to go in, and then it took you to Zoom. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm getting ahead of myself. The week before my University of Arizona audition, I actually had a cold. It was not COVID, but I had a cold. So that really affected my practice. So my audition with the University of Arizona was complete garbage. It was so bad. I had memory slips, and I didn't do as well as I wanted to do. And it was just like, God, why? And then I had to teach right after. So it was just like, oh God. So I was feeling really discouraged, honestly, because at that time, it didn't really work out with Colorado Boulder, which is kind of another story, but it didn't work out with them. I hadn't heard back from UGA yet, and then I had a really terrible audition with the University of Arizona. So I was like, God, what in the world? And then I was getting over a cold, so it was like, And by this time, it was like late February. So I just kind of was like, this is really hard. But I kind of just decided, I was like, and I told God, I was like, God, if this is not for me, like if you don't want me in a DMA program, I will literally be okay. I just need to do something to stay active as a performer, whether that means, you know, getting a job as an accompanist somewhere, because at the time Kennesaw was actually hiring a staff accompanist, and I thought about applying just in case it didn't work out with the DMA program. And so I was like, God, if I'm not supposed to be in a DMA program, then I'll be okay. Like, I will literally be okay. And just as long as I'm doing something besides teaching, as long as I'm doing something besides teaching, I also have to be performing. So that happened. That was like the day after my Arizona audition. And then the day after that, after I was talking to God, I got an email from the University of Arizona saying that they approved, or they recommended me for admission. And I was like, what? After my trash audition, you're still gonna let me in? So, fun fact, I actually applied for the University of Arizona for my master's degree as well. Because for my master's degree, I was looking into all schools in the Southwest. So, they knew who I was, at least one of them. Half of the professors already knew my name. So, and they gave me, I got into the University of Arizona when I applied for my master's degree. And those audition videos were trash too. But I think they look more for potential, not for like perfection. And they're still really good program. Awesome program. But I found out that they recommended me for admission, and I was like, what are you talking about? Me? Like, after my trash memory slips, fulfilled audition, whatever, like, oh my gosh. But I was like, I don't know. I wasn't initially happy, because I was just like, what? You let me in? But, after that, not too long after that, I found that I got into the University of Georgia. So then it kind of became, okay, and I'm kind of skipping a few stuff, but just for the sake of time, but so I have this acceptance from the University of Arizona, and I was kind of getting excited. Okay, God, I actually have a doctoral degree acceptance, which is awesome. So I'm getting a little bit more excited, and then I found out I get into the University of Georgia as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got into 2 out of 3 schools. So I have got into Colorado Boulder, but that's another story. But I got into 2 of my schools, which is awesome. So then it just became, okay, where do I want to live? What? So I actually wanted to go to the University of Arizona because I really had a desire to be back in the Southwest. I loved being in the Southwest. I missed it so much. And I had this idea that I worked out in my head because I also did not want to live in student housing. I was like, I'm going to go live in Tucson and I'm going to have my own apartment and I'm going to be independent. I'm going to be a doctoral student. But then I'm also kind of thinking about the University of Georgia because they're also a really great program, awesome people, awesome opportunities, all Steinway school. University of Arizona is also an all Steinway school. So both programs had a lot to offer. So I think at the end of the day, it really became just me deciding, okay, where do I want to live? So, and it was a really hard decision to make because I just couldn't decide. So I also had to think about cost because I didn't get offered an assistantship at the University of Arizona. And so it was going to be expensive. But at the UGA, I'm an in-state student. I'm a resident of Georgia, so it would have been way cheaper for me to just stay home. So these were things that I was thinking about. And I also was kind of rethinking, okay, do I really want to uproot my life again? Do I want to start over, by myself? Because honestly, when I start over, I want to be married. But do I want to move across the country in the middle of a pandemic and pay money? Like, one reality check for me was my mom and I were going to go visit Tucson to check out the city, check out the school. And that flight was like about $1,000 because I was paying for a ticket for myself and for my mom. And I was like, this is what it's really going to be like. This is how much it's going to cost just to go out there and visit. Not even just to attend, but just to relocate and move and pay for an apartment, get furniture. Like, I also have to have a job to maintain myself because I don't have an assistantship. So then that's some of the things that I was thinking about. And then one day, my mom and I took a drive to Athens, Georgia, which is where UGA is. And as we were driving, I was like, I can see myself driving here because I knew I was going to commute. If I stayed home, I was going to commute because I'm only about an hour away. So I was like, I can see myself driving here. I can see myself, driving around Athens, going to the School of Music for class and all this stuff and for lessons. I can see myself doing this. And then when we came back home, we went back by way of Jefferson County. Jefferson County is mostly country, and I love driving through the country. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm really going to miss this. Like, I'm going to miss driving through the country. I'm going to miss sweet tea. And then I took a day because I still wasn't really knowing what I wanted to do. I took a day to fast and pray. Just one day, just a few hours, because I was like, God, I need you to really show me. And, he didn't just speak like, you're going to go to this school. But I think he just used the things around me to just, lead my decision. Like the fact that I love driving through the country. And if I move to Tucson, I'm not going to get to do that. I'm not going to really get to experience all 4 seasons in Arizona, And one of the things that really led me to stay was just watching something as simple as watching winter turn to spring in the South. I love it because right now it's January. Everything is brown and dead right now. But when spring comes, it's actually really beautiful because everything turns green. The flowers are blooming. The weather gets warmer. And I always loved that. I always loved, winter turning to spring and summer turning to fall. This past fall, when I was driving to Athens back and forth for class, God gave me a really beautiful fall. It was amazing. He gave me a really beautiful fall. And I was just like, thank you, Lord, for just the beauty and the trees and the orange and the yellow and the red and all this stuff. So that was when I kind of decided, okay, I'm obviously going to really miss living in Georgia. I'm going to miss living in the South in general. So I think I pretty much made my decision. And also, realistically, I can't deplete my savings just so I can be in the Southwest again, So At the time that I had decided to say yes to the University of Georgia and say no to University of Arizona, I actually heard back from who is my now professor. And she sent me an email. She was like, hey, Asia, have you decided about where you're going to go and all this stuff? Also, at the time, because of the way I did my application in the first place, they classified me as an out-of-state student. So I actually had to petition my residency status so I can be classified as an in-state student. And when my professor emailed me, she said, hey, the graduate office looked into your residency status and they tried to do something about it. So I was like, you tried to do something about it? I didn't even tell you I had a problem with my residency status. So I guess I was just one of the first of many blessings that God gave me in just, staying here. There was that. And then I didn't know how much school was going to cost. So we actually borrowed quite a bit of money. But I got back so much in refunds that I was actually able to pay my car completely off. So that's another blessing. I got health insurance through the school, which is another blessing because I got kicked off my health insurance when I turned 26. So there was that, and just other stuff, just like the people I've gotten to meet, just going to UGA, and the atmosphere, just getting to be at home with my parents while I, experience school, experience being a doctoral student, staying up late at night, and just there's so many blessings, and getting to be close to my family, my sisters, and all that stuff, being close to my extended family who all live in South Carolina. That was another thing that I thought about, just missing a bunch of family events. I missed a lot of stuff when I was in New Mexico, and I had a great time, but I missed a lot of stuff. And I also didn't want to have to think about trying to fly home during COVID just to visit my family. So everything just ended up working out. So obviously I chose the University of Georgia, and it's been absolutely bomb so far. It's been amazing. And also another reason why I chose UGA was that there are quite a few Black professors. And as a matter of fact, the semester that I started, they hired 2 new Black piano faculty who are more in the jazz field. But that's so awesome. Like, I love seeing myself in their shoes. I like seeing myself in the music field, especially in academic music field, like as a professor and all that stuff. So that was one of the many reasons why I chose UGA. And that is how I ended up a doctoral student at the University of Georgia. So this ended up being really long. Hopefully with the editing, it'll cut down a few minutes, but it's really long. But I don't know. This will touch somebody who is going to reach somebody. The person who needs to be reached, it'll reach somebody. It'll encourage somebody. So I'm here to tell you, if I can do it, you can too. Literally, I have been in piano lessons. I've been studying piano for a little over 10 years. So most people start when they're like 6 or 7. I started a month before my 16th birthday. So if God can do it for me, he can do it for you, okay? So I'm here to tell you, you can be Black and natural and a Christian and be a doctoral student in the field of music, okay? So anyways, I guess that's all I have to say. Also, my yarn. I think I already said that. Anyways, there's my yarn again. So yeah, so I really wanted to just share my experience and my own journey, and hopefully it'll encourage somebody else. I applied literally during COVID, but I think in the end I was glad I did that because they made it a little bit easier because they understood how hard it is to get recordings and stuff. And just as a pianist, we can't take our instruments everywhere. So the piano that we have, or the piano that we end up with, is the piano that we're stuck with. I don't have access to a Steinway Grand. Okay, so thank God they understood that. So, but anyways, that's it. That is how I came to be a doctoral student at the University of Georgia, and I'm learning a lot. And now I have to prepare for my first doctoral recital, which I ain't ready for. But anyways, I guess that's it. So if you have made it to the end of this video, you are a champ, because I can ramble on and on and on and on and on talking about my own experiences. But it's always to help somebody else, okay? And I hope that whoever, if there's like a young black woman who is trying to get into a doctoral program or whatever, or even a master's degree program, because I have a master's degree in piano performance. I have an undergraduate degree. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Music, because my undergrad did not have a piano performance program, or a performance program for that matter. At least when I was there, they didn't. So if I can do it, you can too. And hopefully this will encourage whoever, I don't know, whoever is black and wants to be in a higher ed degree in music, whether master's degree or doctoral degree, you know. So there's a whole journey behind my master's degree, but I want to do the doctoral one just because this is where I am right now. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I will post, I don't know actually what I'm gonna do. I still am trying to figure out how to schedule this whole channel, but anyways, you'll see more videos from me where I'm just talking, because I really like to talk. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I really hope this encouraged you, and happy practicing, you know, or not.